celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
We're big animal lovers, pretty much all of us here. Let me introduce you, if you're new to the team here, Joey Villani right over here, the dog father from Animal Planet's Dogs 101, and groomer has it. Dr. Debbie answering your vet medical questions.
Sorry, I just spit on the microphone.
News director, or should I say moose director?
Whatever you want to call me.
Lori Brooks. I'm glad to see that you came back.
That's a good sign.
Thanks, you guys. I'm a big animal lover, so there's no place really I'd rather be.
You have a few animals at home, too, don't you?
I do. 3 bulldogs and 2 cats, and that's probably a low census count for right now.
3, and what do you mean, it changes frequently?
Yeah, I mean, in the past there were several horses and lots of ducks, chickens, and other things like that.
The whole
I'm
thing.
not in really a farm area right now, so I'm kind of limited now.
Well, you see, we noticed that people, when they say they have 3 cats, usually means 6. Just usually.
That's on a,
I'm not saying that.
That's on a rental application.
Yeah, usually most cities have these laws. At least where we live, I know they have these laws.
Yeah.
And you can't have more than 3 or 4 cats or 3 or 4 dogs unless you're in the business and permitted and licensed.
And then you have to have the property and space to accommodate them.
And that's if you could even find a place to live, because there are a lot of landlords that won't even let you move in.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that kind of scares me, because when you say it's double, I had somebody wanting to rent one of my houses at one time.
Yes.
And they said they had 40 cats.
Holy moly.
So
the fact that they even
that's
admitted
kind of
that.
borderline hoarderish.
Yeah.
It is. That really is borderline. I don't even think I think that is hoarderish, but we don't know the situation.
That
definitely is.
I'm sorry. I love pets, and I'll rent to people with pets, but not 40 cats.
Cats can ruin floors.
They can do a lot of damage,
Yeah,
I have to admit.
I know. Okay, so let's get back on track here. Today we have a guy who's written a book about introducing the dogs to the baby. So let's say you're going to have a brand new baby at the house, and you already have a dog. How do you make that introduction so that there's no jealousy? Because you don't want the dog to be jealous, because that could cause all kinds of problems.
That's very important that you do it right.
On the way in just a few minutes right here on Animal Radio. Lori, what are you working on over there in the newsroom?
Well, if you are maybe looking for a new job, why not just do everything kind of over? Take a free do-over if you want. If you love animals, you can get a new job, move to a new country, and probably make more money. And we'll tell you where you would be able to do that.
I like the sound of that.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
Let's hit the phones for your calls. Hi, Denise. How are you?
Hi, I'm okay, thank you. How's everybody there?
I think we're doing splendid. We're awesome here. Where are you calling from today?
South Central Pennsylvania.
Oh, near Reading?
Yes, about 15 miles west of Reading, actually.
Oh, well, how are you doing today? What's going on?
I have a cat that I thought was a tortoiseshell male, and I was told that it was rare.
Tortoiseshell
and
male.
I was not aware of that. What is the determining factor as to how to tell if it's a tortoiseshell?
Well, so when we're talking about colors of cats, there's a lot of people know what a calico is, and calico is a tricolor. So you got usually like black, red, and white. A tortoiseshell is usually a 2-color cat without white. So it could be red and black, brown and black, kind of that. Now, what's interesting is usually the red coat color is associated with females. So in most cases, a tortoiseshell cat or a calico cat is a female. The trait for that orange color is actually on the female X chromosome. So in order to have a male, and if we verified sex, and you've had your vet check out and make sure we are in fact a male versus female.
Yep.
And we've confirmed it.
He's got the equipment.
Okay, all right.
He's mostly brown with black striping and spotted mottled black, and a tiny bit of a lighter beige.
Okay, yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this is pretty rare to have a male that's a calico or a tortoiseshell. And estimates, although it's not really known for certain, it's about 1 in 3,000. And they're kind of neat, interesting little guys. You can actually specifically test their genetic background, and that can be done by a test through your veterinarian. We have to send it out to special labs. I think the closest one on my West Coast is we usually send to the vet school at UC Davis in California. But I'm sure on the East Coast there's a similar testing on that area.
Denise, what difference will it make ultimately for you?
Well, I was thinking that if he is indeed a rare tortoiseshell or, whatever, then I would put him into shows or something of that nature.
I bet you wish, right? You're not alone. Yeah. People who have these kitties, they used to call these money cats because there's a belief that they're somehow rare, valuable, going to make you lots of money. The bad news is that they're usually sterile. So they're of no value to any breeding generations other than kind of being cool, quirky, and having kind of talk over at parties that you've got a kind of an unusual cat. It's really not going to make him more desired in any kind of circuit. So show or otherwise. So sorry. Okay. But some people say they have really cool personalities and they're really, just interesting cats. But you will want to get them neutered just for the normal, typical reasons. But yeah, for breeding's sake, he's got blanks. So.
Wow.
Okay, well, he's a rescue. I trapped a feral to just try to get her neutered and stuff. And as soon as I trapped her, I saw that she was pregnant. And she had 5 kittens almost immediately after I trapped her. So I've got 5 of them.
Wow. Okay. Well, hopefully you have some answers there. Denise,
all right. Thank you very much for all your help.
Thanks for your call today. Calling from the Reading area, listening on WEEU in Reading, Pennsylvania. Interesting. I always learned something. I had no idea that they'd be shooting blanks.
I didn't either. I'd never heard of that.
Yeah, and in people, there's the syndrome called Klinefelter syndrome, and it's the similar thing where they have 2 X chromosomes and 1 Y chromosome. Although in cats there can be some other variations in the chromosomes with this condition. So.
Okay. Aaron, what's going on with your dog?
Well, he has fairly severe allergies, including hypersensitivity to his own Demodex canis, and including allergies to people as well as a lot of foods. So I was wondering what I could do to minimize that. I've gone through all of the steroids, all of them, Atopica, prednisone, and Tumarol P. I've got him on a raw diet. I have him on ivermectin to help minimize the Demodex irritation, but he is still every day uncomfortable, and I know that a regimen of steroids throughout his life is not only going to compromise his liver and kidneys and immune system, but potentially shorten his lifespan.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, you sound like you had him allergy tested. Is that correct?
Yeah, we did both the viral, which I guess are not necessarily very accurate, and then we did the scratch testing, and he came up with pretty bad allergies to people, to chicken, eggs, corn, rice, pretty much everything that's in commercial dry dog food, which forced us to the raw diet.
Okay, yeah. So if you had him allergy tested, did you at any time pursue allergy injections or desensitization therapy?
We did, yes. We went through that for about a year. It seemed to have no effect whatsoever, and then we were going to do a rush induction, and did that. We did do a rush induction, and that still seemed to help not at all. And I know most dogs are allergic to certain seasons. He seems to be allergic year-round.
Okay. Yeah, and wow, what a lot you got going on with this baby. I mean, the real problem that we have is that when we attack a lot of these allergy issues with the immunosuppressants, the prednisone, the cyclosporine, things like the Demodex kind of come to the surface, and truly we are hesitant to try to use anything really potent on the allergies till we can clear the Demodex, and that can take a long time. Some dogs, we don't clear it, and it's a constant battle with that. So for me, when I hear of a pet that we're dealing with allergies, that's having an active Demodex break, that's where I try to focus a lot of my efforts. That and any other concurrent infections, bacteria infections, yeast infections, and try to address those things and to address that as much as we can, and then say, okay, let's regroup and then look at things like steroids or cyclosporine, because it's actually the use of things like steroids indiscriminately a lot of times with these allergy patients that they give relief, but they can set up the pet to break with these mites, the Demodex mites. So that's probably the best avenue that I could say to go to try to get a handle on things. And then if it is a year-round issue, then gosh, yeah, the diet would be a huge focus on how I would try to address that. And definitely a lot of the blood allergy testing for food allergies is not always very useful. So we usually try to do more of the elimination diet. So things like raw are fine, but there's still things in raw food that can be an allergen. So I'm not sure what therapies you've tried, but whether we go with a hydrolyzed protein or even a novel protein diet where we're trying to eliminate and only pick a few ingredients and keeping it really pure, if you will. That's how I like to go after the food allergy component with the year-round issues. And then making sure fleas are under control. Got to keep those fleas under control as well if that's an issue for your area.
It's not. He was in Las Vegas, and actually, unfortunately, now he's in Arizona at a foster home for the time being. But we did do the elimination diet. We did that for about 2 years with the journal, and we have him on a minimal amount of ingredients, which seem to be okay. Yeah, I don't know. This is what I'm just thinking. I had to get the wall a little bit.
Yeah, and it will be, in his situation, I would be realistic in that this is going to be a lifelong battle. And I recently had someone move from Michigan to Las Vegas, and they said, we did all the allergy testing in Michigan, and you know what, we know he's allergic to things. And I said, well, after you're in a new environment, there are different allergens, and some may be a greater component than others. So retesting when there is a move and potentially going on another allergy therapy might be another thought.
Well, Pixel, the Animal Radio studio stunt dog, is 5 months old now.
5 months. Isn't it funny how time flies?
We've learned so much. Some good things, some bad things. It's definitely been a big learning curve, even though it's not our first puppy. And one of the things we've learned about is Whiz Smart puppy pads.
We used the other ones, trust us, and they were horrible. They didn't absorb, and as your dog stepped off, you had little wet footprints all across your floor that you had to follow behind them and clean up.
And that was the norm for years and years and years until Whiz Smart was invented. I found out they're made from upcycled materials, deconstructed, and of course, unused diapers. Now when Pixel goes to the bathroom, she keeps her paws dry, and she doesn't track around the house, and she can use the same pad all day long. This is a really thick pad that holds about 8 cups. Now, I haven't measured it yet, but I can tell you that Pixel uses one a day. So all day long, she uses one pad. It dries immediately. It does not smell. These are definitely premium puppy pads that you should check out. And of course, everything we talk about, we try here.
You keep saying puppy pads, but they're great for older dogs, too, for senior dogs. Yeah. And, even for all dogs, like in the winter, if you live where there's snow, you can put the pads down. They're great all year round for dogs of all ages.
The folks over at WizSmart wanted us to tell you about their new Essentials line, giving you premium pad quality with a lower price. It's coming out this summer.
Yeah, but you forgot to mention it's their charcoal essential pad. This is a special pad.
Yeah, I hear that charcoal absorbs liquid like magic. Here's the website, wizsmart.com. That's WIZSMART.com. I think you'll be pretty pleased with what you see.
Yeah, do it for your pups and do it for yourself.
wizsmart.com. That's WIZSMART.com. And follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, Aisha.
Hi.
You must be a child of the 90s, a young gal, huh?
Oh, well, you're flattering, but not hardly. A child of the 70s.
Really? Aisha?
Yeah,
Aisha.
73. Come on.
I thought Aisha was kind of a newer name, no?
No, it's one of the older ones. All the other Shuz are the newer ones.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of the old Shuz.
So what's going on? I have Dr. Debbie right here. I understand something's going on with your animal.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Debbie. How are you doing?
Hi, super. And how about you?
I'm doing okay. I have a 3-year-old Doberman. Her name is Diamond, and she has, we're calling it incontinence. She will lay down, and it's kind of like she potties in the bed. She'll be laying on her dog bed, and she'll just urinate. Not defecation, but urinate, and so, like, pretty much she'll be laying down, and when she gets up, there's a nice little potty spot where she was laying, and she's great. She's a wonderful dog. She's great with the kids. I would love to have her sleeping, in the kids' room on a dog bed or something like that. Or even on the bed. But I just can't trust that we won't have that problem with the urination.
And she's pottying outside during the day, okay?
Yeah. And so it's not a potty training issue. She knows to go outside. We don't really have a doggy door, but we kind of keep the back door open from time to time, and she'll go on outside and go to the bathroom, defecate outside. It seems like usually when she's sleeping, if she has been asleep for a long period of time and she gets up, whatever blanket or area she's on, there's a nice little urination spot right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah.
And
alrighty.
so, and I've been told that there's medication I can give her, but no one seems to know the name of the medication, anything about the medication, so just your thoughts.
Okay, absolutely, yes. And when we have a dog, especially a female dog that is incontinent, leaking urine when they're sleeping or relaxed or getting from a lying position, getting up,
yes.
we tend to look for female incontinence medications. And is she spayed by any chance?
Yes, she is.
She is. Okay. Because the number one population we see this in is the spayed female dog. And some thoughts actually recognize this problem could be as high as 15 to 20% of dogs that are spayed. It's one of the reasons that nowadays many folks with the laparoscopic spays are actually just removing the ovaries because it's thought to maybe be implicated with that. But yes, so there are some very useful medicines. And I can tell you my own Labrador is on 2 of those to help control her problem because it was, I recognized it in my dog at 2 years of age. And so the first line medication, I'm going to back up. First, always what I'd like to do first is to check a urine sample, make sure nothing's going on in there. No signs of infection, make sure there's no crystals that might make us worried about bladder stones, things of that nature. Once that's good, then I'll look at the medicine. And the first one we go to is phenylpropanolamine, or Proin is one of the common trade names of that. And that's something that it's generally given twice a day to 3 times a day, and can for many dogs do wonderfully to help improve the tone in the bladder so that we don't have these leaking episodes. Beyond that, there is also an estrogen compound. It's called diethylstilbestrol, and we abbreviate it DES. And it has to be compounded at a outside pharmacy that makes prescriptions. So you probably won't find that readily at your veterinary office unless they already have someone compounding that. And that is not always the first choice because it's an estrogen compound, and we have to kind of watch to make sure we're not giving too much, that it can suppress the bone marrow. We can lead to problems with anemia. I've never seen it. It can happen, and we worry also about giving too much causing estrogen stimulation. So maybe feeding the concerns with breast cancer. So we want to use this cautiously with veterinary supervision. But I can tell you that drug.
What is your dog? You said your dog is on what?
She is on both of those.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yes, and we actually had her on the phenylpropylamine for quite a few years, and she did well with that. And then eventually we lost control, and she started having leaking. So we added in the DES, and that's usually added in. At first, we started on a daily basis, and then some dogs we get down to just maybe once or twice a week, and that kind of helps control. And it's interesting. Both of these medicines, when they're used together, they work better than one agent by themselves. So it's not unusual that we'll use them together for a pet. And I'll have to tell you that Dobermans are definitely a breed that can have an incontinence problem even if they're not spayed. So we do see that very commonly in these gals. So
could it have anything to do with the tail docking, or is that just not it?
Probably not. And I mentioned that, there's some thought that perhaps having surgery in that area, basically having the uterus removed, might cause some change to the nerves in the area or to, the structure in that area. But now, and then there are some other more extreme techniques, and I can't tell you I've had anybody go through them, but I've heard of some fellow colleagues that pets can have collagen injections into the bladder.
Oh, wow.
And that helps to give a little bit of a thickening to the bladder. And for many dogs, that may work wonderfully, but it can have a temporary effect, so they have to go back for additional treatments. And that's usually done at specialty centers, vet schools, things of that nature. So not widely used.
Okay, thank you.
We wish you the best of luck with that, Aisha. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Hi, I'm Charlotte Ross on Animal Radio. Please remember to spay and neuter your pets.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. Hey, if you love animals and maybe you're looking to do something new and exciting in your life, maybe a new job, well, how about a whole new adventure and consider moving across the pond, to England, where dog walkers earn a fifth more than the average UK salary by working only 2 weeks out of every month. So that's like working half of what most of us would. Dog walkers in the UK charge an average of almost $18 an hour per dog, and they walk 192 dogs per month on average. Are you following my math? That adds up to an annual earning of about $41,000, which is 20% higher than the British national average salary. Britain's, by the way, spending on their pets is set to surpass $7 billion. They say that's a 25% increase since 2010. And around a fifth of that spending, by the way, goes on things like non-food items for pets, which includes, pet toys, pet grooming, pet daycare, all the fun stuff. It's that time of year for allergies for all of us and our pets too. But unlike humans who can get hay fever because, of breathing in pollen, pets primarily develop allergies through their skin. You see, dogs walking around on the floor, you can picture this, act like a dust mop. So if dogs are allergic, then their skin is going to itch. You may notice some scratching and keeping you awake at night and licking their paws a lot. The flare in allergic skin disease, according to experts, even when typically well controlled, will lead to increases in itching and scratching. So be on the alert for that. And then what happens is all that itching and scratching creates secondary skin infections, which involve bacteria and or yeast too, which can really compound the problem and make the dog, cat, horse even more itchy. And by the way, did you know that some pets can even be allergic to fleas? So you can see how important flea prevention becomes, because when even one little flea bite can blow up for a dog or a cat that is allergic to fleas, can go into dermatitis. And they say a dog that is allergic to fleas can scratch for 2 weeks from one little tiny flea bite. I'm Lori Brooks, and you can get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
Hi, this is Carrie Ann Inaba from Dance with the Stars. Don't forget to spay and neuter your animals, and you're listening to Animal Radio.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Find us at animalradio.com. Log on, learn more.
Let's go to the phones right now. We have Elaine. Hi, Elaine. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. What's up?
I was just wondering, I had a question for the dog father.
Uh-huh.
My dogs love to swim in the pool. We're very active. They're always jumping in. And I wanted to know, how does the chlorine affect the coat?
Oh, good question.
Should we get them groomed more, brush them out more? I just wanted to know, does it change the color?
Will it discolor your dog? Yeah, absolutely. It's just like your hair. If you go in the pool too much, you may get some discoloration, which is not going to be significant, but you could turn your brown dog a little bit red or your black dog a little bit red, but it'll go away.
Is the chlorine bad for them?
Let's put it this way. It's not going to kill them, but it's not the greatest. It's no different than for our skin. It's going to dry it out. It's going to leave a residue. And a lot of people don't believe that it leaves a residue, but I'll give you a good example of that. If you ever work to put with water that had bleach in it, okay, and you take your hands out, it leaves almost like a film, like a slimy feel that sometimes is a little bit hard to actually rinse away. Well, the chlorine almost works the same way. What it's going to do, it's going to attach itself to the coat. So even just a quick rinsing will get most of it away, but it's going to leave some behind that could irritate or cause the skin to dry out. So if you can, what I would do is I would make a mixture of bleach. I would make a mixture of white vinegar. Let's not put any more bleach on a dog.
Scratch the bleach.
Yeah, scratch the bleach. Let's take some white vinegar, a quarter cup, to a gallon of water, okay? And if you can just add just a cup, when I say a drop, I literally mean a drop of shampoo, because what that'll do, that'll help the product grab onto the coat so it doesn't just flush right over it. It'll actually work. And pour that over your pet as a rinse, okay? After you rinsed your pet with plain water, use that as a rinse. So what that's going to do, that's going to help remove all the impurities that are left behind. Same way if you washed your floor and you went back over it with water and white vinegar, it'll make it shine more, because what it's going to do is going to lift up the residue. Well, that's going to do the same thing to your pet's coat. And then when the dog's coat is just about 90% dry, I would run a brush and a comb through it, and then one more time completely when he's dry or she's dry, and you'll have no problems.
See, I only let my dog go into the pool once a year, and that's at the end of the year. They have these around Labor Day where all the pools, just before they shut down, the public pools, they encourage the dogs to come in and fill up all the filters with their dog hair, and then they clean it all out.
It's a new one to me as well.
Is it new to you? You've never heard of that?
Yeah. No, I haven't.
Wow.
Really?
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Dogs or cats, horse or emu, animals are people too.
Is your dog happiest when splashing around in a pool? Dog trainer Steve Dell says dog owners with pools should pool-proof their pets. He teaches dog owners how to train their dog to get out of the pool, saying a dog would naturally swim to shore in a lake, but make it confused in a pool. They have to be taught where the stairs are. It sounds like a simple idea, but a dog can drown while panicking trying to get out of the pool. Dell suggests leading your dog into the pool by the stairs, then encouraging him to come back to you using the stairs to get out of the pool. It's also important to keep the pool gate closed to prevent accidental falls. For pets and humans alike, safety is an important part of having fun in a pool. I'm Britt Savage for Animal Radio. Animals are people too. Animal Radio.
Hey, it's Vinny Penn coming back at you with another party animal segment. Animal Radio, baby, because you're demanding it. Thanks for all of the emails I've been getting from people who are like, this should be a TV show. This should be Vinnie Penn's Animal Radio. All of you people out there saying that you want it extended to being a full half hour long and an hour. All right, nobody's emailed me in this regard. But you can email me at vinny@animalradio.com. Okay, this week's topic, very true story. True story. No exaggeration here. We've been having a problem in my neighborhood for the past couple of summers with, we've been plagued by skunks. I've been having a real skunk problem. The stench could just, from them just firing off their skunk lasers in the middle of the night could wake you from a sound sleep at 3 a.m. I even set trap. I hate to do it. I didn't want anything destroyed. I'll plead the fifth or just say it's naivete. I don't know how this goes, but I did have someone come out and set a trap for the skunk. I have 2 small children. It was the stank was waking us up every night. Lo and behold, one day a couple of weeks ago, I hear kerplunk in the middle of the day in the pool in the backyard. I look out. The skunk has fallen in the pool in the middle of the day, which suggests rabies. Am I right? Is that urban myth? Is that a wives' tale? I heard of a skunk or a raccoon. If you see them in the middle of the day, chances are very good that these are nocturnal creatures to a degree, so they could be rabid. I don't know if that's urban myth or not. But he falls in the pool. So I stand. I'm an animal lover. I stand there and I think, this is it. This is how it's going to have to end. I'm just going to have to let him, there was a trap in the yard. I'm just going to have to let him go this way. But I couldn't take it. I couldn't take being in the house and there's an animal splishing and splashing around in my pool. So I went and I told my wife, I said, we've finally resolved the skunk issue. It's in the pool right now. And she said, what? She looked at me kind of funny. I said, I know. I hate that it has to wind up this way. But, it's finally going to solve the issue. The skunk has been, terrorizing the neighborhood. So I just left the room, didn't think anything of it. All of a sudden, I heard the sliding glass door open and close. I look out the window, and my wife is out there with the pool skimmer, true story, hand to God, and fishes the big, fat, stinky skunk out of our pool. Now, there's a part of me that's livid because this issue for 3 summers is finally resolved, and she's fishing it. So I'm thinking, I want to see that tail come up and this rabid skunk just blast her, because then she'd have to take a bath in tomato juice too, which would be kind of sexy actually to me. But I'm into some strange stuff. And lo and behold, I swear, it's like she dropped it off in the lawn. It's like the skunk was like Pepe Le Pew or something. It just looked at her and said, "Thank you, ma chérie." And he just gave her a wink. I swear, I think I saw the skunk wink and took off. How would you feel? How would you feel if this skunk was plaguing your neighborhood, fell into a neighbor's pool, the issue could have finally been resolved, and some little house on the prairie weaned housewife had to save it with the pool skimmer? You let me know. Vinnie Penn, Party Animal on Animal Radio.
Hey, everybody, this is Brett Michaels, and I just want to say, you, right now, want to take... Wait, give me the line again. My brain skipped.
Brett Michaels...
I just had one of my brain hemorrhage brain farts.
Oh,
Go
don't
ahead.
do that.
Say
Don't do
one
that.
more time.
I don't want to be responsible for that.
Trust me, it's me. Go ahead.
Animal Radio. Brett Michaels, Animal Radio.
You got it. I knew the Animal Radio. Okay, here we go. Hey, this is Brett Michaels. You're listening to Animal Radio, and take care of your pets. They will rock your world.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. And we were just talking about excuses why people get rid of their dogs. Allergies was one of them. Another excuse is, well, I'm going to have a baby. Don't need the dog around the house. That's the last thing I need around the house.
Yeah, I'm afraid the dog, might harm the baby or something.
That's just crazy talk. I'll tell you that right now. That's I would never get rid of my dog. In fact, I would think that the baby and my child would, that would be a great thing for them eventually to have a relationship and a bond together and grow up together.
Yeah, and I think what children raised with animals have less allergies over their lifetime with regard to animals.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Plus, I got to just say that, well, you know what? Let's get the expert on. He's dog trainer Michael Wombacher. He's written a book called Good Dog, Happy Baby. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
One of the calls we always get is about jealousy and dogs being very jealous about the baby. And, that scares me because I wonder if there's going to be some kind of fight or bite down the line. Or how should we be introducing our children to the babies?
Well, I think you want to think about it way before the introductions come. So the concern about jealousy is a real one. So, people always ask me, what's the number one piece of advice you could give me to make this thing work? Mm-hmm. And I say, think about the changes that are going to happen in your dog's life when that baby arrives, in your schedule, the amount of time that you can spend with him and so forth, and be sure to introduce those changes well in advance of the baby's arrival. So when the baby arrives, the dogs aren't stupid. They're very good at figuring out patterns and associations. They'll know if suddenly, their park time is down and they're not, they're kicked off the bed and the furniture, because this baby, they'll definitely take a dim view. But if all this stuff is done, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks prior, then it just, the dog can't make that connection, and the dog's less likely to take a dim view of the newcomer. So that's the number one thing.
That makes sense.
Judy's dog is always around her. I mean, Ladybug is
shadow.
Constantly looking at her all the time. I got to think that if Judy had a baby, wouldn't that start some kind of competition with the dog? How do you really get around that?
Well, and that's why it's so important. One of the things I point out, really, the first third of the book is committed to something I call rank management. I call it the Doggy 12-Step program, but I didn't invent this. But this is just 12 simple steps that you can make sure that your dog's relationship with you is structured appropriately and such that the dog understands. To use a kind of old language, who's the boss, who's running the show, who's structuring the social situations. And if your dog looks at you that way, then it's not so difficult to bring, a newcomer, whether it's a baby or another dog or whatever, into the house, because the dog will be looking to you for cues about the social interaction. But oftentimes that's not in place. And then there's a kind of codependency that can develop between dogs and people that will and does create problems. That's the main reason I wrote the book, because there's an awful lot of that. But it doesn't have to be like that. And there's an enormous amount of things you can do, especially through preparation, but also through, patching things up if they've gone a ways already.
Mm-hmm. Now, I got a question for you, because I have a lot of clients that really baby their dogs and really treat them like they're furry children. So can they have it both ways? Can they continue to treat that dog like that doting child and then have a human child treated the same way?
I would say yes, definitely. You can spoil your dog without spoiling the relationship. The problem is most people do both at the same time. And in fact, there's a way so the answer to your question is yes, but you can structure it. Actually, you can structure that in such a way that the dog would associate the love and the affection and the attention and the babying that he's been getting or she's been getting from you with the presence of the child. So one of the things I encourage people to do once the baby's on the ground is during the times that the baby goes down for a nap, often what people do is indulge the dog a little bit because now they've got time. So I say, no, put the dog down also. You want to have a little safe place that the dog can go and just isolate and crate the dog or whatever. Put the dog on its own for a little while, and then maybe mom takes a nap. When the baby comes out and it's time to nurse or change diapers or whatever, then you bring the dog into that interaction in such a way that the dog associates familial closeness with the three of you and starts seeing, the presence of the child means nice attention for me and love for me. It's not so we're not setting up a competitive dynamic, but rather a friendship.
Now, dogs don't necessarily lash out against the baby. They may do other destructive things. They may start chewing on my couch or start digging in my trash or something. They redirect it.
Yeah, that can happen, but again, if one's taken care, I mean, if that's the case, then you have to deal with those things as a sort of ad hoc issue. If the dog's digging through the trash, then there's things you can do. But generally, it's the displeasure is usually actually directed at the baby or expressed in some form of separation anxiety or something like that. But if there's to the degree that there's ancillary behaviors that start to develop, you have to just deal with those. In the same way you would with if there wasn't a baby around. But if the baby dynamic is driving it, then you want to look at the way you set up that whole relationship. In other words, the core problem is the dog's feeling left out, and that's the part that's definitely fixable.
I was wondering about maybe, a dog is not really, I don't think, going to just do that out of the blue. What are some of the signs that we're going to look for? Some of the things that the dog is going to do that might signal us something could happen?
Well, just the general sense of dis-ease. The main thing is sort of slinking away, not being sure how to relate to the child. When the child, fear primarily, fear or agitation, the baby starts crawling towards or reaching towards. There's a shrinking away. There's a sense of depression. Those would be all signs that like something's up. And the mistake people make when they see stuff like that is they ignore it. They just say, no, it'll be fine. It'll just take a little time. But left alone, things like that, they tend to. There's an old saying, dogs don't grow out of things, they grow into them. And that's true. So the main mistake would be just to ignore that behavior. And again, the book is full of, in the last third of the book, there's a lot of information about how to set it up so the dog really starts to develop strong positive associations with the presence of your child at various ages, but primarily in the infant to toddler stage.
Okay. If you have a fur child and you're thinking of adding a two-legged child to the house, I encourage you to pick up the book Good Dog, Happy Baby. The author joining us, Michael Wombacher. Michael, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
I am the family dog, and it's that time of year again. The one where pet parents start looking for Fido-friendly hotels and destinations where Fido is welcome. Make no bones about it. Pets are part of the family, and we like to sniff out new places too, and we hate to be turned away, especially when we're on our best behavior. So we won't be left out in the cold. Be sure to pick up a copy of Fido Friendly Magazine to find the best hotels and destinations where Fido is always welcome. Go online to FidoFriendly.com and subscribe today.
Celebrating the connection with our pets. This is Animal Radio, featuring your dream team, veterinarian Dr. Debbie White and groomer Joey Villani. And here are your hosts, Hal Abrams and Judy Francis.
This hour, another hero. One of our, is it our last hero or second to last hero?
Second to last.
Second to last hero, as this segment draws to a conclusion after, 26 weeks. And again, hopefully, just an amazing hero. 10-year-old, I believe. 10 years old. We've had a few of these, and the last one a couple of weeks back. Just adorable. I just love it when these kids get involved with the animals at such a young age. Well, that's on the way right here on Animal Radio. Lori Brooks working hard in the newsroom. What do you got going on this hour?
Well, you're talking about reasons that people might get rid of their pets, like, having a baby or something. Another one of those, how many times have you heard, well, so-and-so's allergic? We hear that all the time.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about, pets and allergies, what you need to look out for and be aware of, and some of the signs and what they can evolve into. So why you really want to be on top of it and deal with it in the beginning.
Okay, that's on the way right here on Animal Radio. First year calls. We're going to line 3. Where we have Bob on the phone. Hey, Bob, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good. What's going on in your world?
Oh, just sitting here playing on a laptop waiting for a load.
Waiting for a load. So you're not sitting in the bathroom.
Well, I was earlier, but not now.
Not that kind of load. You're probably OTR is what I'm thinking. You're waiting to pick up a delivery, right?
Well, yeah, that too.
Okay.
We'll try not to disturb you there, Bob.
Oh, no problem. You don't hear an echo or anything, do you?
No.
Okay. I got a question for you. How come it is that you get your dog chipped, you go to a vet, the vet's never checked the chips as a, when you just when you do an average check of the dog, when you look the dog over and kind of give them a glance over and check them out, they never bother to check to see if they have a chip in them and to see if the dog belongs to the people that brought the dog in.
Right.
I had a dog stolen a while back that had a chip. And if the vet had bothered to check, he would have found out the dog was stolen.
Well, you never got the dog back?
No, we never did.
Oh, goodness. I'm sorry. The big thing and the challenge with it is that checking for a chip isn't the same thing as checking for the ownership of the chip, because they're different things there. So there are some veterinarians that have a policy of scanning each and every pet that comes to the door. And it really depends on the hospital policy. Now, if they do that, they find a chip number, but that does not mean once we run that scanner over that chip, nothing lights up and says this pet is stolen. It just says this is the number for that pet. So in order to actually find out if that pet is stolen or lost, you have to call the microchip registration, give that number, and find the disposition of what the status of that chip is. If it's stolen, reported stolen, lost, or never registered. And I'll tell you, never registered is a huge problem with microchips. But that's another topic. So just because they check for a microchip doesn't mean that you're going to necessarily get your dog back. If Joe down the road takes the dog in, says, hey, this is my dog. My uncle gave it to me from Tennessee. And they check him for a microchip. And they say, yeah, we know he has a microchip. We haven't registered it yet. There's no way that veterinarian is going to play cop. And they're not going to know that that gentleman's not being honest with them. They may know there's a chip there, but there's a little bit of some discretion as far as, what's the incidence of suspicion. So for me, what I do, every new pet that I see, puppy, kitten, adult, if it's a new pet that's to my practice, I scan them. And I've had people where there have been some weird situations where they'll say, no, he doesn't have a chip. And if he has a chip and they state they've never had a chip, for me, that's a really big red flag that goes up. And I start calling and checking on that status of that chip.
Has that ever happened to you?
Yeah, it sure has. And, it is surprising how many people, when they find an animal and they see it maybe in, unkept state, maybe it's matted, it's got wounds on it, or it looks skinny. And there's a lot of people, when they find a stray animal like that, they say, whoever had that pet didn't love him. They wouldn't have allowed him to get this way. And I'll tell you, I had a cat that somebody found a year prior. Brought it in for vaccines for me, and I scanned it. It had a microchip. We had the owners there within 5 minutes, and the lady who found the animal actually was contesting and saying, no, I don't want to give it back, because she was running loose. Obviously, that lady didn't love her. So there's a lot of people that kind of have that mindset, when they find a stray animal, and it can really make a problem for those honest people that have their pets microchipped and that want to use the system how it's supposed to work. That's really part of the problem. But yeah, I agree with you. It'd be nice if, we were more thorough in not only scanning, but also having some means to check on those chips to make sure that, what the status is. But in a busy office day, it would be hard. You'd have to have, a deputy or someone to be checking on all those microchips to make sure that each and every one is valid.
I didn't know there was a number. I have Home Again on my dog now, and they told me that when you scan it, the name of the owner comes up.
Nope,
I didn't know
that's
it was
incorrect.
just a number.
Yeah, it's just a number, but there ought to be something that the companies can do. If you have a microchip in a dog and your dog is lost or stolen, you should be able to report it, and they should be able to do something so when that chip is red, that it comes up in an alert or something.
It doesn't get flagged. If I call Home Again and say, hey, my dog was gone and I can't find him, don't they can't put a flag on that chip, so if somebody does scan it, it'll come up and say, ding, here, this dog's missing.
Yeah, they should.
They can put a flag on the information, but they can't put a flag on the chip.
That's too bad.
Until we have like a centralized system where, when you scan a pet, it's immediately read at some central body and they can verify the information. That isn't what we've got right now. Right now we've got a system a little bit short of that, and there's different registration companies. So there is a lot of kind of areas where this is not foolproof.
You also mentioned one other thing that I do want to touch upon is that once the chip is in, you also got to register it. And a lot of people just put the chip in and they forget to register?
Yeah, and even some shelters that will have a chip in a pet when you adopt it. If it's not registered into the new owner's name, it'll never do any good. It only registers and brings that pet back to that shelter. Then they have to go through their records during business hours to hopefully track down the people that adopted. And hopefully the address is still the same from when they adopted to whatever date that is. So it's very important. Immediate registration. And at our office, we put a microchip in, and before that dog or cat or ferret or potbelly pig leaves the office, we're already filling out that paperwork and it gets sent in.
Oh, plus people move and then they don't update
Yeah.
The microchip
Guilty.
address. Yes, we're guilty of that. We forget to update the address.
Yeah. Does that answer some questions for you there, Bob?
Yes, it sure does. I'm kind of curious, and I just figured I'd ask.
Okay, good question. Very good question. Sorry that you didn't find your dog there. That's an unfortunate case there. How long ago was that?
Oh, it's been several years back. I've got a purebred golden retriever now that's really taking his place.
Good.
He's into everything, but he's my buddy.
Okay.
And he's microchipped.
Oh, he's chipped. Oh, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, we appreciate you listening, Bob, and we'll let you get back to your load there. Well, this portion of Animal Radio is underwritten by Fear-Free Happy Homes. Don't forget you can get your fix of Animal Radio anytime you want with the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android. Download it now. It's made possible by Fear-Free Happy Homes, helping your pets live their happiest, healthiest, fullest lives at home, at the vet, and everywhere in between. Visit them at fearfreehappyhomes.com. And thanks, Fear-Free, for underwriting Animal Radio. I believe we have Deborah on the phones. Hi, Deborah.
Hi, how are you?
Good. Where are you calling from?
Tampa, Florida.
What's going on? How can we help you?
Okay, I have a question for Dr. Debbie.
Okay.
All right, I'm right here.
I have a 2-year-old Cocker Spaniel, and she is about the most athletic Cocker Spaniel I've ever known. And what she loves, as soon as I get home every day, we go to the backyard, and I throw the ball. She runs like a Jack Russell Terrier and jumps 2 to 3 feet off the ground and catches the ball.
Oh, boy.
We all love it. She loves it, and I love it, too. But I have had Cocker Spaniels in the past, and I'm aware of hip and back leg problems, and I'm concerned, is this good for her legs or bad for her legs, the jumping and landing on the ground?
It's a great question, Deborah, and I love that you have an athletic dog, because for Cocker Spaniels, they are the smallest of the sporting breeds. So this is totally typical for these guys, and too many Cocker Spaniels are couch potatoes. So I love that you're getting your baby out there. But yes, they are definitely prone to some hind limb problems, and in the knee area, we are very aware of medial patellar luxation, so where the kneecap pops in and out of place. And in about 1/4 of Cocker Spaniels actually have this condition. So it is something that if you haven't had it diagnosed, a good physical, your vet can pick this up on a physical exam. If we do have something like that or hip dysplasia, we may want to temper our activity, because studies do show that dogs that engage in very vigorous jumping performance type activities, that it can hasten the development of osteoarthritis in dogs that have these kind of problems. But if she's not been diagnosed with that, I don't see a reason not to let her enjoy that, with a couple premises. As far as the first thing that I would always ask is that we make sure we keep your baby in good lean weight. Because a pet that's carrying extra weight, that's extra forces that are on the joints when she is jumping and when she's playing. And that can definitely increase her rate that she could injure her hind limbs, and not just those problems, but the other more common problems that we do see with athletic dogs and injuring themselves. The other thing is that I would make sure also is that we condition her to that activity. So it sounds like she's doing this regularly and she's pretty active, but we don't want to just kind of do the weekend warrior type thing where one day she gets to jump and leap and do all this. So we build up to that. So that may be leash walking. We may take her out for other more sustained activity, and then just making sure that, that she's got good structure when she's jumping, when she's doing her activity. So the ground does matter to where she's playing as well.
Well, she's pretty impressive when you see her, and it is a daily activity, so I do appreciate your opinion there.
Excellent. Well, give that baby a pat on the head, and I love the activity. Mr. Boss is going to get out there and join her, I think.
Okay. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks for your call, Deborah. We appreciate it.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
Hey, this is Paula Poundstone. Wait, I forget where I am.
Animal Radio.
Animal Radio. I love that. All right. Hey, this is Paula Poundstone on Animal Radio. Spay and neuter your pets or we're going to be eaten alive!
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It's Animal Radio. We are celebrating our connection with your pets. Lori, what are you working on over there in the newsroom? What's going to happen this hour?
Well, it might be too many bad treats. Treats that maybe like too sweet, like we humans indulge in. But how are our pets doing when it comes to dental care?
Ooh.
They did some big research on it, and I'm going to tell you what happened.
I'm feeling like that's not going to be great.
Yeah. Well, hang on a minute. I'll tell you.
Okay. Let's head to the phones where we have Kathleen for the dog father. Hi, Kathleen. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from the Reading, Pennsylvania area.
So what's going on?
Well, I have a rescue. I got him from the Golden Retriever Rescue. He hates to have anything done with his feet. Now, I take him to a groomer to get his nails done, but to trim the fur, I have to trim the fur, and he doesn't want me to do it. The last time I was doing, well, one of the last times, he got himself into a corner, and I thought, oh, now he has to stay. He figured out a way to get away from me.
Hey, can I ask you, what's he trying to do? Is he trying to bite while you're doing it?
No, he just wants to get away. Now, the last one that I had, she actually threatened me one time, but I still was able to trim her nails, her fur. And this guy has a bad back. I used to they'd be laying down, and I could just grab them by the legs and turn them over to the other side. This guy, I don't dare do that because I think I hurt him.
Mm.
Now, are you using a scissor or are you using a clipper or a buzzer?
A scissors.
Okay. First thing I would be is I'd be careful with scissors only because I've seen so many accidents. So that you definitely sounds like he's foot shy because the scissors don't make any noise. And I'm assuming you're trying to do this by yourself.
Yes.
Okay. Well, two things. I'm going to be quite honest with you. If doing it on a floor or on a table without any sort of restraint from a person or having a professional grooming table, even me would have a big problem doing that, especially if the dog was fighting you. So the first thing I would do is I would have someone, if you have someone in the household, that actually can hold the pet's head, but not holding it in a manner like you restraining the dog.
Yeah.
What you're going to do is you're going to hold it as if you're petting the dog, rubbing its ears, and almost distracting them from.
What I usually do when I start working on him. I'll be brushing him and talking to him, and he'll settle down. But as soon as I try to clip the fur, he's ready to leave. And he
is there any reason why you just don't have the groomer do it when you go in and have the nails done?
Well, they don't do it. I'll say
I would ask them straight out because it's much easier for them to do it because they have the equipment to do it. Right. See, the problem, my concern is with the way that you're doing it is this. He sounds very foot shy, so even when someone's holding it, you're having a problem. If you do happen to nick the dog because he kicks back on you or tries to get away and you're trying to get it done quickly, it's going to make the situation worse. So two suggestions. Either tell your groomer, which they really shouldn't charge you. If you came into my salon and you asked for nails and pads, I wouldn't charge you any more to do the pads or the dog. Or if it's anything, it would be very nominal. Or I would go out and get a grooming table on the inexpensive side. You can get them anywhere from $75 to $150, and at least you can have the dog in a proper restraint where you're not going to get hurt and the pet's not going to get hurt. But really, those are your only two options, because the way you're doing it now, it could be a bad situation for both you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In fact, the first time I took her to, no, I guess it was the second time I took him up to the groomer. She came out with a muzzle. Now, this is a big dog, and he does growl. In fact, there's another thing that I wonder. Do dogs purr? Because he'll be making a noise, and he'll be wagging his tail at the same time.
Did you say do dogs purr? Purr?
Yes, like a cat.
Purr.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? Without hearing what you're saying, because I've seen dogs growl and wag their tail, and without really hearing it. I mean, dogs do make grunting noises, and could it could be a happy noise. Really, it depends on the dog's body language while the pet is doing that, and you can almost tell: is this a happy sound, or is this a sound like he's saying "stay away from me"? And if you get the feeling that it's a sound that the pet is saying "stay away from me," you know what? Your best bet is to stay away at that point.
Yeah. The Baskerville muzzle that we talk about all the time would be great. It's sort of different. It's not like your dad's muzzle, and they're easy to treat. And if you're in certain
they can still
situations
drink
like that,
water, and they can pant. They can do everything in it. But Joey, can't you over time try to desensitize the dog by just going towards them and touching their feet with no clippers in your hand, and just sit there and play with their feet when they're laying on the couch, and just constantly touching them with no threat to where they just kind of get used to it?
You absolutely can.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Alan Cable, welcome to another mess. Let's start it off right with your beer news watch. Beer for dogs?
We plan on getting a Rottweiler.
Well, any vet will tell you dogs should never be given beer. Their livers don't metabolize alcohol the same way we do. And things like hops can hurt many dogs. It's sad that dogs up until this point couldn't enjoy beer, but a company called Wolf and Brew released a beer specifically for dogs. Are you ready to enjoy one with your dog?
I'm just in my boxers right now.
This stuff has no alcohol or hops or carbonation. It's easy and safe for dogs to digest. So now you can share a beer with your best buddy.
Hey folks, this is Jackson Galaxy. You're listening to Animal Radio. Please do everyone a favor, spay or neuter your animals today.
Well, as many of you know, we've added a new puppy to the Animal Radio studios, Pixel.
Also known as Pixelator or Picosaurus.
It's been a long time since we've had a puppy.
Oh, yeah.
As you know, if you've ever had a puppy, they have a lot of energy, and you've got to have a lot of energy, too, especially when it comes to training.
Potty training, that is.
Of course.
Well, all training all around, but potty training is one of the first things you want to do.
And so we're using pads, but not just regular pads. 14 years ago when we raised our last puppy, all there was these very cheap pads. They would go on the pad. It would leak off the pad. They would step in it. It would end up all over the house.
Oh, yeah. They couldn't even finish their business without having it pool around their feet.
Then someone turned us on to Wiz Smart. WIZSMART. Wiz Smart.
Yeah, we were desperate to find something that would work better than those old ones. We needed something that could absorb quickly. And the WizSmart ones, they're thick. They absorb up to 8 cups. And it's not a one-shot deal. You can use them over and over. You can use them for, up to 12, 24 hours. The other ones, they do it once and you had to throw it away. But these last a long time because they absorb so much and so quickly.
I had to do a little research into their leak-proof design. I found out they're made from upcycled materials, deconstructed, and, of course, unused diapers. Now, when Pixel goes to the bathroom, she keeps her paws dry, and she doesn't track around the house, and she can use the same pad all day long.
Yeah, we don't have to run over there and change it real quickly and try to get it before it leaks all over the floor.
I think anytime we find something here at Animal Radio that we really like, we want to share it with you. WizSmart pads, not only good for the puppies, if you have a senior dog.
She endorses the product as well.
Check out their website, wizsmart.com. That's WIZSMART.com. And follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
This is an Animal Radio News Update.
I'm Lori Brooks. There's a new study out that shows America's dogs and cats need, well, much better dental care. You probably guessed that. The Pet Market Dental Study brings together perspectives from both veterinarians and pet owners. And the study looked at things like their, pet foods, pet treats, their chews, their toys, pet toothpaste and medical services, and even some of the things that they use in the veterinarian offices and dental cleanings. But veterinarians indicated that the majority of pets that they see have dental problems. So it's not just yours. You're not the only one getting that bad news when you take your pet in for an exam. But the vast majority of pet owners consider their pet's dental status as normal, and less than 30% recognized any potential teeth or gum problems in their pet. Now, that said, 80% of dog owners and more than 50% of cat owners did purchase dental health products in the past year. But most of them were treats, so they were kind of doing double duty. But about 20% of dog owners and 10% of cat owners had their pets' teeth cleaned professionally in the past by a veterinarian, but the vets say that we need to do that more often. Finally, a Japanese pet supply company has created a pretty cute new sweatshirt. It's a different kind of a fashion statement. It's got a built-in pouch in the front of it. So we humans can carry our pets, or small cat is what it was made for. It's a pullover with a large vertical pocket on it. So, a regular hoodie has kind of those pockets on the side. Well, this pullover hoodie is actually designed to put a cat in that vertical pocket. It's like a kangaroo pouch and is called the Mew-Garoo hoodie. It's not cheap either, but it's a great idea. I saw one on one website that sold for $101 plus the shipping from Japan. But it is a clever design, and it does come with a washable liner as well. So have fun with that. It's cute. I'm Lori Brooks. Get more breaking animal news anytime at animalradio.com.
This has been an Animal Radio News Update. Get more at animalradio.com.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Once again, during the commercials, we were sitting there on the Facebook page. Easy to get lost in it. And especially with all the videos and all the cute pictures that everybody posts every Wednesday for Wacky Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're brand new to Animal Radio, we have this contest at our Facebook page at Animal Radio. And you upload your Wacky Wednesday pictures on Wednesday or thereabouts. And by Friday, we count all the likes and all the shares, and the person with the most shares or most likes wins some great prizes. So it's really a popularity contest. Is that okay?
They all are. Every contest you enter your pet in is like vote, and all your friends get to vote.
I just want to be transparent.
The people that have all the friends usually win.
If you don't have any Wacky Wednesday pictures, you should take some for this week's prize.
Or if you don't have any friends, then vote for someone else's pet.
Isn't it funny what we'll do for other people's pets? Not necessarily the people, but for their pets.
Yes, yes, absolutely. What do you got this week?
This week from Calm My Pet, we have a stress kit. And this is supposed to help de-stress your pet. And it includes an essence that are actually supposed to relieve the stress and the worry and anxiety from your dog. But they put it together with the CD, which has been specially formulated to help
Formulated
to help them with things such as thunderstorms and noises and stress. So you use this essence together with this CD music, and you will have the ultimate relaxation experience for your pet.
Or you. It sounds like
I could use it
I want
too.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's for your Wacky Wednesday prize this week. So head on over to your Facebook page at Animal Radio. And in just a few minutes, I just learned our hero this week is 10 years old.
And it's actually, not only is she 10, but she's doing together with her brother. They're both heroes, and he's, I think he's 11.
So in the last, I would say, 26 weeks, we've had a lot of heroes. And
yes.
In fact, this is coming near the end of our hero segment.
Yes.
And we've had probably 3 or 4 that have been under 14, certainly.
I think there's about 5 or so we've done that have been. It's, and what I like is the name of their company that they made. It's called OMG.
Oh, This one, they made a company?
Yes, and it's called Owen.
Don't tell me too much. I want to find out.
Well, I was just going to tell you, just the title of it just really says a lot.
I'm engaged. I want to be there. I'm going to be there for that interview.
Okay.
Today I will be there. I promise.
And I do believe we are taking the next call, and we have Sue on the line. Hi, Sue.
Well, hi, how are you?
I'm doing great. Where are you calling us from?
Tampa, Florida.
What's going on?
I'm calling about a dog that I adopted from the animal shelter in November. And
Okay.
I was visiting him. Well, actually, I'm a dog walker, and I fell in love with him last summer, and I brought him home in November. He's a 5-year-old lab Catahoula mix, and he's a great dog, love him to death. But I live here with my husband, and my daughter and her husband live with us temporarily. And this dog seems to be confused who his owner is, I think. Is that possible?
How so? Well, what's he doing?
He follows me around when I'm here by myself with him. But when my son-in-law walks in, he just takes off. And he won't come to me when I call or anything. It's like he thinks he's his dog, and he's mine.
And that bothers you, huh?
Well, yeah, maybe it's jealousy, but seriously, I mean, I can't. He just, he just clings to him, and I have to really encourage him to come with me to get him away from him. And I'm thinking, does he think he's his dog?
Well, this might be something more than just, who's the head dog of the house, if you will. Who's the caretaker of the home? Who's giving him food? Who's letting him outside, taking care of all of his needs?
Majority, that would be me. But playtime is my son-in-law. He definitely plays with him more than I do.
Well, you may have the same phenomenon going on in your house that I have in mine. I do all of what you just described. You feed them, take care of all of the medications, the light grooming, things like that. And my dogs, when I come home from work every night, they attack my husband and start playing with him and giving him attention. And I am truly chopped liver. And they just have no interest in anything that I have to do. But, that's where it's kind of what resource the different individuals are giving. Now, if he is always kind of anxious and following people around the house, then that would be maybe a little bit more of something we need to talk about in the household setting, about maybe setting up some routines that are really predictable for him. But if it's when your son just comes home and it's a playtime, then I don't necessarily think that's a forgetting who's the owner type thing. It's just, that's the activity that they participate in together. No different than if a colleague came over and they played in the backyard. It's, ooh, yay, every time I see this person, we play. So there's a really big positive reward. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And, well, that makes me feel better.
Yeah.
Because I've never had an older dog like this before. I thought, that was part of when you adopt a dog, an older dog kind of thing, and I just was confused.
Yeah, no, and he's settled into the house, so is he comfortable in any behavioral problems like digging or being destructive, anything like that?
No, he's a real good boy. So.
Well, awesome. Well, yeah. Well, Sue, I totally sympathize with what you're going through, because it's a daily battle in our household, and it just doesn't seem fair, because when you provide all of the love, all of that attention, and I just can't even get a good petting or a head scratch come the end of the day. So I'm with you there.
Thank you.
You're listening to Animal Radio. Call the Dream Team now with the free Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
Alan Cable with today's dog tip. We had an email from a listener whose dog was afraid of a new laminate floor. She said sometimes he seems to forget about it and find some peace, but invariably he refocuses on the floor and becomes afraid again. What can she do? It's pretty interesting, isn't it? Dogs become afraid when they have a negative experience, a bad experience, and associate it with something. So you know how dogs get excited and run full speed? He was used to some other floor covering, and here it is, this nice slippery laminate. Maybe the dog took off on that new laminate floor when he got excited and couldn't stop. Slid across across the floor and banged into the wall, or just never had his legs taken out from under him like that before. So at that moment, he became afraid and associates it with the floor. Now, because she said he forgets sometimes and finds peace, that's the time to give him attention and reward him and say, good dog, give him a treat. You can use that time to refocus his mind away from the fear and start forming a positive association with being on the floor by giving him affection and a treat. Now, understand, this is calm affection. Then you put his leash on and walk him around on the floor, being all calm and acting like a leader. And when he's successful, you tell him what a good dog he is. If he's too afraid to venture on the floor, just stand there. Say nothing, look straight ahead, and stand there for 3-4 minutes. Then take off and try to walk the dog across the floor briskly. If he won't go, just stop and start over again. You can even walk in a circle away from the floor before turning back, facing it, and briskly trying to take off across it. Remember, you can't feel sorry for your dog, and you can't be tense. You've got to be totally calm and picture in your mind you and your dog walking across the floor like it's no big deal. The more calm and confident you are, the more you act like a leader, the more your dog is going to learn to trust you and to follow you. It's all about being a leader and building trust. So remember to walk your dog every day for at least 30 minutes. On your side or behind you, never in front. And remember, these things don't happen overnight. Whenever you try to change a dog's behavior or eliminate a fear, build positive associations, it takes time, consistency, and patience. Get more tips at animalradio.com.
This is
Animal Radio, baby.
If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. 800-785-1673. That's 800-785-1673.
You're listening to Animal Radio. If you missed any part of today's show, visit us at animalradio.com or download the Animal Radio app for iPhone and Android.
It is time for another hero, and I'm so glad to welcome back today. Not welcome back, welcome for the first time to the airwaves, 10-year-old Olivia Ries. Hi, Olivia. How are you doing?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm so glad to be talking to you. I couldn't think of any other place I'd rather be right now than talking to you. And I want to find out about this nonprofit that you created called One More Generation. Is that what it is? OMG?
Yes.
And why did you name it that?
Well, when we were studying about endangered species, my mom, she noticed that every time we were learning about something, we kept saying, oh my gosh, OMG, like learning about a new species. And so when we had our first board meeting, which we had no idea what it was, we were deciding company names, and I came up with things like "Please Feed Me," "Please Adopt Me," and I was 7 at the time. And my brother came up with something like "Please Save Me for the Next Generation." So we wanted to incorporate the letters OMG into the company name, so we just came up with One More Generation.
Okay, and
awesome.
Explain what that means, because you're worried about the animals that are going to become extinct. Is that correct?
Yes. We're trying to educate the next generation of leaders to try to help save these animals for at least one more generation and beyond. And
your brother is involved with this too, huh?
Yes.
And you started this when you were 7, so you've been doing this for 3 years now. And yes?
I've actually been doing it for 5 years, and I'm 12.
Oh.
Oh, well, let's
change
that. That's a big difference there. So you've been doing this 5 years. And what have you accomplished over the 5 years? Have you brought awareness to people?
Yes, we've brought plenty of awareness to schools, churches, clubs, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, just as many people as possible.
And what's your ultimate goal? Is there a certain animal that you're trying to keep from going extinct, or just all of them?
Well, all of them.
Do you have to raise money or speak with local legislators or anything like that?
Well, we come up with different things. Like we're doing a orangutan letter writing campaign where we're trying to get we're teaching children about the problem of palm oil plantations and the orangutans and how they're being killed or put in the pet trade for just for the people cutting down the forests and stuff like that. So what we're doing is we're teaching children and adults about it, and they write letters or just sign a pre-written letter to the president of Indonesia and saying that they want him to stop. And so we're trying to collect as many as possible, and then hopefully meet with him and deliver all the letters.
And what do we want him to stop doing?
It's a palm oil plantation.
Okay.
It's where they cut down the forest to plant palm oil trees, which they put palm oil, palm kernel, palmitate, all the same thing, into our foods, and it's vitamin A. So what they're doing is they're cutting down the forest, and these orangutans and many other species are living in the forest, and if they see an orangutan, they might just shoot it or even sell it on the pet trade or even bury it alive, which is really gross.
Olivia, you sound like you're doing a great job making complex situations and ideas pretty easy to understand. Thank you so much for that.
You're our hero this week, and I got to say, you're my favorite hero.
Yeah. Thank you.
Amazing.
You're doing amazing. So you have the website. People can go to onemoregeneration.org, right?
Yes.
What's over at the website?
We have just things that we're doing, like the orangutan letter writing campaign that we're doing. You can download the sheets and write your own letter, color pictures, stuff like that. But One More Generation is a nonprofit, and donations are greatly appreciated.
You bet.
So, yeah.
Oh, okay, give locally there. Where are you? Where do you live? What city?
We live in just outside of Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia. So if you're in the Georgia area there, you want to give to a local organization doing good work. These kids, I mean, really, you're hearing just totally amazing.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you have any dogs or cats at home?
I actually do. I have 3 dogs, and I have 7 cats.
How'd you get so many cats?
So we rescue them all. We found most of them like in abandoned tennis courts and landfills while we're doing cleanups and stuff like that. We actually snuck one into our house from a cleanup that we were doing, and our dad didn't know about it, so we just brought him home. So.
Hey, if you have 6, what's 7? What's one more? They won't notice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for spending time with us. If you were here, we'd all give you a collective big old hug and thank you for what you're doing. And same thing, tell your brother, Carter. We want to give Carter props, too, for helping you out with this.
Both of you.
I just want to thank you for having me on your show.
You know what? You can come on the show anytime you want, okay? Anytime you want. You just call up and say, I want to come on. I want to tell you guys what I'm doing now, okay?
All right.
Thank you so much for spending time. I got to go melt for a second.
Amazing child. I love it. They're so young. I mean, to start, she's 12 now, but think she's been doing this for 5 years? 7 years
she's so
old?
smart.
I know.
You know what she reminds me of? I'm trying to think which actress. I think it was Betty White who told us that she used to sneak animals in to her house. Was it Betty? No, it was Jenna Fisher. No, was it Jenna Fisher? Oh, scratch that.
It was Lori Brooks.
Yes, it was Lori Brooks. That's what it was.
I think we all did that.
Well, there you go. We're all going to get on out of here and walk our dogs and iguanas and flamingos, except for Dr. Debbie. You're about to go do a surgery. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. A rabbit foreleg amputation.
A rabbit?
Foreleg meaning the front leg, not 4 legs.
Oh, okay. I was going to say.
That sounded weird. Explaining that.
Yeah.
So what happened to this rabbit?
It actually had a broken foot that's not amenable to fixing very easily, so we're removing it.
You're such a multitasker. You do a radio show, then you're off doing surgery. It's saving the world, and here we are. We're just going to go pick our noses and walk our dogs.
This is Animal Radio Network.